being a 200-year-old bank, doing DevOps, it was a multi-year initiative. So if I have to break that answer down, so first and foremost, the metrics that are to be used for DevOps, and there are multiple CIOs, multiple areas, they first of all have to have a baseline. I think all the organizations use some sort of DevOps, whether primitive, advanced, some sort of functions of DevOps in their current world. So first and foremost, going left to right in a traditional cycle, of course, it needs to have a build. It needs to have some sort of dev unit testing. It needs to go into different environments. There needs to be QA. And then obviously, it needs to be deployed into production. So there are different boxes, if I have to say it that way. So one of the things early on that we did is there were some rudimentary metrics, such as does a developer check in the code or use this particular tool? That was used as a metric. But that's not very insightful because there's a ton of data, but you have to gather the insights from that. So what we really did is we went end to end via the initiatives, whether these are projects, programs, or however the organizations run. The lowest common denominator is either the time is getting saved, or you're improving the quality, or from the first, time getting saved is dollars realized. So we went through the stack left to right, application by application, to say how the DevOps tool set, what it is used for, what maturity, whether it's an intermediate, whether it is very rudimentary, or whether it's an expertise. And then we mapped it to say small things such as how much time does it take to run a test case using a manual method and using an automated method. So a little bit bottom-up, painstaking approach, but at the end of the day, we could see what was the pre and the post once the DevOps tool set was implemented to varying degrees to see what the benefits were.
For me, AIOps is much more around kind of traditional monitoring, kind of the operational side, and DevOps is the building side. And speed to market, I think, is slightly overhyped. I think it's important. I think really what people should be talking about is control to market. It's almost like the sportsman analogy. A footballer or some sports player can actually do something really quickly because they have control. So you then have the decision to do something. And for me, the DevOps has been really important, and actually not taking DevOps and AIOps together is also bringing security behind that. Treat them like children. When you have a child and you give a child boundaries and you tell the swim lane that they want to work in, that's what security you're going to have to think about, how you're going to be up front. It means they can accelerate and get momentum through that. And by kind of coalescing the two kind of domains together, you actually can think about release management, operation management on how do I actually want to go and take someone and make a decision to go live. And you don't want that to be a bottleneck, because then what you're doing is you're disenfranchising kind of people that are building to say, you're smart, but we're not going to authorize you to be able to go and release that to market. That's someone else's decision. You're going to have to escalate to someone. So for me, the more data and context we can start giving to frontline staff to go and make those decisions on their own, the more kind of authority or decision-making powers you can push further down the organization, so you can build momentum. And you can build momentum at the control that your business and the speed at which your businesses would like to be. That may be super rapid for some industries. If you think at like micro gaming, which I know no one's in here, they want to get out as fast as possible. But places like healthcare, you can go and respond to needs as it needs with a confidence to go and do that. And I think for me, the part is we focus too much on technology and not the real important part, the person empowerment. How do you get someone to turn up at work and know how to enact the transformation that everyone here is giving as executive direction? When you get that right, then you build that momentum.
I think it's fair to say that this new normal has sort of put companies in groups, right? So there's the group that are the thrivers. These are the snack food companies that are up 2,800%. And the ones that are suffering, right? These are the travel and tourism and the theme parks. And then the ones in the middle of the changers, right? Where they might have had a little bit of analog, where they've had to create digital, like they need a wet signature on a mortgage as an example. And because of that, one of the bigger changes in IT that I think will last a long time is IT agility, which is just another way of saying time to market. But the easiest way to say that is simply as delivering IT projects faster. What used to be reasonable at 9 months now is a mandatory 3 weeks. So a mandatory 3 weeks requires some business change, like I don't need 30 people to make decisions, or the CFO doesn't need to make the $1 million decisions, but it's also the IT change, right? IT change are use cloud more often, switch to using SaaS versions of the current products you're using, scale out infrastructure designs, and of course, automation. Automation means from DevOps to I&O, including the AI ops sort of in the middle to bring them together. It's all of those things because I have to shift my administrative resources to ITSM, and I want to do things in much faster time that doesn't have any people-centric walls. So this IT agility, this getting things done faster, is a fundamental change that I think has a lot of permanence to it.